Thanks to the support as a channel member, Sam Porter. Well, unless an absolute miracle happens starting today, we're going to have to do the playoffs again. Hello, welcome to part 91 of Bourne in the USA. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, as promised, we have the games against Portland, or Carolina and Portland too. But unfortunately, slightly different to what was promised. They're not going to be deciding whether or not we go up automatically or not. As you can see, we are well behind both of them now. We've fallen all the way down to 5th place, 79 points on the board, 11 points behind Carolina with 7 games to go, and an enormous 16 points behind Portland. They are 2 big games still, but we've been in rotten form, or specifically, we were in rotten form in March. We had a terrible March, losing to Dallas, San Jose, and Minnesota. Big defeats as well, conceding lots of goals, and we've turned it around a little bit in the last couple of games, but like I say, it's going to need a miracle. We're going to have to win all 7 of our remaining games and hope that us going to Carolina today and beating them throws them into a downward spiral that we can then capitalise on by winning every other game. Otherwise, it is the playoffs for us. And this is the team that we're going to be sending out there to try and pull off this upset against Carolina. We're going with Walker in goal, a back four of O'Rourke, Captain Morgan, Feliz and Vakulenko, Padilla and Claudivanio in midfield, and then Aguilar and Robinson out wide, Takada and Johnson up front. Garcia not fit enough to play after yet another recent injury. Have we agreed to sign him permanently? Oh no, we've extended his loan, haven't we? Because he agreed a contract extension at his parent club. I think that happened in the last episode. If it didn't, we did offer him a contract. He agreed in principle to sign it and then signed an extension with his parent club. We've got the loan extended, but he's so injury prone. I don't even know if I want him now. After all this, he just gets injured too often. We might have to look to upgrade that position in the summer. I'm a little bit concerned about the prospect of upgrading any positions, though, because of the ongoing financial mess we're going to be in if we don't get promoted. Because we need to keep going up to try and get to the point where we can make some money. The fact Carolina have scored inside the first 4 minutes does not fill me with confidence that we're going up this year. Oh, I don't even want to see it. I don't even want to know. Oh, not only are we bottling it and throwing away automatic promotion, but if we're not careful, we're going to go into the playoffs in terrible form, and they're going to be as miserable as ever as well. Feliz has just grabbed an equaliser, though, so maybe everything's not as bad as I thought it was. I mean, the thing I'm kind of hoping for at the moment, I think realistically, we're not going to get the automatic promotion. I'm not a madman. I think we have got to focus in on these last 6 or 7 games, getting ourselves ready for the playoffs. And I'm hoping the fact that we bottled automatic promotion early means we can end the season in form. Every other time where we've ended up in the playoffs and then ended up doing badly, it's because we've entered the playoffs in terrible form. We're actually in a situation now where we could go into these playoffs off the back of 4 or 5 consecutive wins in good form with a team that is back to fitness. We've had our injuries. We've had our suspensions. We could potentially go into the playoffs with a full strength, in form, high morale team, which would be perfect. I mean, it's asking for a lot of stars to align for that to happen, but it is an opportunity that we've not really had before when it comes to these playoffs. We will see. We've got surely you can't go through an entire tier 10 road to glory never winning in a playoff. When you've played in as many playoffs as we have, I mean, pretty much every season we've messed up automatic promotion first time round, messed up the playoffs, and then gone up as champions the next year. That's pretty much seems to be the shape of the save. We need a year to settle into a league before we can go and win it. Seems to be how things are happening here in America. So that means off the back of our, 5 promotions now, 6 promotions, we've probably played in every single one of those playoffs and lost every time. There's got to be a time when we just win a playoff. You can't just keep losing them. It's absurd. But, I'm pretty good at absurd. It's one of my specialities. Right, Carolina are in again here. They're already 2-1 up. They're showing why they're a better side than we are, because they are causing us a lot of problems here. They're just knocking the ball around seemingly at will. Takada does well, actually, to get on the end of that clearance and play Johnson in. Johnson could grab an equaliser here, but his shot is unfortunately wide. If we had grabbed a second equaliser, despite Carolina controlling the game, that would have been pretty handy. I say they're controlling the game. We're actually ahead of them on every stat. We're ahead of them on XG. We're level with them on everything else. But we all know XG is all that really matters. So maybe our striker... No, I'm not going to blame our strikers. Our strikers have got one goal on an XG of less than 0.5. The issue is with our defenders conceding 2 goals against an XG of 0.3. It's the goalkeeper, it's the defenders. And I think it's been an ongoing thing for a long time now that we are struggling to find a goalkeeper. We probably use 2 different ones a season. None of them stick around for very long. We need to find ourselves a goalkeeper who can be with us all the way to the championship. We need a good young goalkeeper who's better than anything we've got now and can grow with us for a few years, who we can rely on. But such a thing is expensive, and that's the problem we've got. We're constantly just feeding on scraps, and it's easier to find decent quality outfield players that you can mould into a team who might have been discarded by other clubs. Goalkeepers who are good enough for league football generally have league clubs because it's a specialist position. So it's pretty tricky for us to find a goalkeeper who's good enough. I think we need a big loan for a goalkeeper. But we've just had a big moment. Forget a big loan. Kevin Johnson has just grabbed a second equaliser of the game for us to try and keep the dream alive. Robinson, the young lad on loan from Bourne in England, playing the ball through to him, and Johnson is there this time to tuck it past the goalkeeper after fluffing his lines a little bit in the first half. We're straight back up the other end with Carolina on the attack again. They're not just going to let us control the game and beat them, I don't think, but we've got another break on here. It's 2-on-2. Johnson is one of those 2. Johnson is in, and unfortunately he couldn't get it properly onto his right foot for the shot, and his effort ends up straight at the goalkeeper. If he'd have had a left foot he could have hit that with, you can play that across goal, and I think we're 3-2 up. Claudio now playing the ball out to Robinson again. Robinson's been lively today. And plays it infield to Takada along the ground. Not really where Takada would want it, but brilliant target man play from Takada. Holds it up nicely, just turns back to goal on the edge of the area and draws the foul. And it's a penalty for Takada to put us 3-2 up, and he scores. And we're ahead for the first time in the game. A 27th goal of the season for Shota Takada. And all of a sudden, forget the negativity, Kev's dreaming again. We're going up as champions. We're not going up as champions. But look at the difference it makes. What was an insurmountable 14-point gap at one point in this match is now down to an 8-point gap. It's still a big gap. It's a closable gap if Carolina fall apart. Rather than falling apart, they've won a penalty of their own. We need a big moment from Walker here to show me that he's the goalkeeper I've been looking for. We don't get that moment, and it's now 3-3. We didn't get to enjoy our 8-point gap for very long. I didn't even get to finish talking about it. Well, we just need to go and do it again. We've been scoring a lot of goals lately. Scoring goals is not our problem. We can go and score goals. We will still score goals. We just got to stop conceding them at the other end. I think probably switching the tactic up to something a little bit more defensively sound wouldn't be the dumbest thing I've ever done. But you know what? We ain't switching the tactic. We're just going to try and grab another goal. We're going to encourage the team. We're freshening things up a little bit. Wright is one of those players who's just come on. And now Johnson's turned the last man and he's in here and it's on his right foot. This time he's taking it a little bit wide though. Why has he ran that as far as he has? The defender's done a good job not really giving him the space to get away from him and get ahead of him. But I think Johnson's got enough of a turn of pace in him to just find half a yard in that run to get the shot away. And he never really did. And that might end up costing us. We're encouraging it. I don't want to demand more away from home against a team we know are better than us, because this is a good performance. And even if we concede here, we've done very well. Of course we concede here because they're a team that are destined for promotion, and we're a team who just can't get a run of results together in the second half of this season. The season started so brightly, but ever since Christmas, really, Ever since Christmas, we have struggled to get a run of form together. We've been very, very inconsistent. It does coincide when we bring in a lot of new players. We brought in Claudivanio and Feliz and Robinson and several others. These really late goals are becoming a little bit too common and a little bit too frustrating. We shouldn't have conceded 5 today. Absolutely not. That really, really flatters Carolina. But they did turn it on in the second half. Now we get to play the team that's even better than them. I wonder how that one will turn out. Just to further hammer home what I was talking about where the problem lies, we just had a notification come through. We've played one more game. We just put, was it 4? We just put past, 4 past the Maryland Bobcats. But we've just had a notification through after 41 games. We've now set the new League 2 record for goals scored in a season. We already have 107 goals scored this season. The issue comes from the fact that we've conceded 56, which if you have a look at the teams in the top 3, none of them are anywhere near. We need to tighten up the defence for next year while still scoring over 100 goals because I like the fun of it. But we are now playing Portland, who are not too far from 100 goals themselves. And this is probably going to be the last regular season game I show you because we're already guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. We are, how are we doing? We're probably... something big has to go wrong for us to not finish in the top 2 spots. I think the way the playoffs are structured is the same as it is every time there's a 6-team playoff. So 9th will play 6th, 8th will play 7th, and then the winners play 5th and 4th in the semi-final. So we need to be top 5 to make sure we only have to play 2 games to get through the playoffs. And I think we should be good for that anyway. Although Portland obviously are a team that are pretty close to guaranteeing automatic promotion if they haven't done so already. In fact, they probably can today. Yay for us. Our team, to try and stop that from happening, Walker in goal, a back four of Campos, Morgan, Feliz and Vakilenko, Cardavenio and Padilla in midfield, Aguilar and Robinson out wide, Takada and Johnson up front. I think that was the same team we played for the previous game you saw. It wasn't the one that we played for the game in between, but I think this is the same 11 that you've already seen get battered this episode. In fact, that's not fair. We weren't battered. We pushed Carolina all the way and then somehow managed to concede 2 goals in the last couple of minutes of the match. Captain Morgan's in after 12 minutes, grabbing his 5th goal of the season. Look at the size of the stadium we're playing in today. Portland have clearly got a few quid. I guess this is part of them being a B team. Presumably this is Portland A team's stadium, which is why it's so much bigger than ours. But who cares about the size of the ground? We're 1-0 up. And with 4 games to go after this one, as things stand, that's a 6-point gap between us and Orlando City B, which, although it doesn't mathematically guarantee us a path straight through to the semi-finals in the playoffs, it's pretty blooming close. That's for sure. And it also stops Portland going up automatically today. Although some absolute comical defending from us turns that on its head almost immediately. I mean, oh dear. What are we witnessing here? So, I mean, I can't even commentate on that. It's a good job we're not on the radio. There's no explaining what's just happened. Utterly hideous. It does mean, I mean, even this would mean that as of right now, Portland are not guaranteed automatic promotion. Tormenta are 7 points clear of us as things stand. They're actually in with a chance of doing what we were trying to do, chasing down this top 3. We're not even in the best 4 teams in this division. And we're now 2-1 down. And I mean, Portland are good value for it. They're a better team than we are. And I mean, remember we were supposed to finish mid-table this year. Let's start. I don't want to see any more replays. Let's start wheeling the excuses out. We were supposed to finish sort of mid-table. That's what the media thought we'd do. I think the board were looking for us to avoid relegation. I'll double check that after the match, but I'm pretty sure this was a fight bravely against relegation season. So the fact that we're even guaranteed a spot in the playoffs shows that we've overachieved this year. But I can't get away from the fact that first half of the season, we were looking like we'd go up automatically. We started so brightly this season. And then I wonder if I just rocked the apple cart too much with the quantity of players we brought in January. I don't think there's any doubts over the quality. Robinson's clearly a very good player. Same goes for Fellis, same goes for Claudio. These are good players. I just wonder if we brought too many in when the previous batch were still settling in as well. If you compare this to the 11 from this time last year, probably half the team is different now, which is a lot if you're trying to do back-to-back promotions to change the team to that extent. Right, league table. 3-point gap now between us and Orlando is a little alarming. I'm not going to make you sit through a couple more regular season games to see how that turns out. You'll just have to... You'll find out tomorrow whether or not we're in the quarterfinal or the semi-final of the playoffs. For a team that's never successfully navigated a playoff, if we end up in the quarterfinal, that's the nightmare scenario, because that means we've got not only one more game to get through, but it also means what I was saying before about going into the playoffs in form for once. That obviously hasn't happened. If we've managed to fall down below 5th in the league, I don't think we've been lower than 5th in the league all season long. Johnson's just hit the post. See, we don't look miles away from these automatic promotion teams. We look like, with a little bit of luck going our way, we could pick up results against these sides, but we're just very young, a little bit naive, inexperienced, and just grumpy. Grumpy because of it all. Oh, I just want to win a football match. Come on now. See, that was lovely closing down from Takada. But then Johnson's got the chance to go and do the same thing and put the goalkeeper under some pressure. And he just stands there looking at him. What's the point in only having one player pressing? It's probably that's almost certainly part of this, the instructions I've given them. But I refuse to take any responsibility for the poor performance of my team. It's all on the players. And if it doesn't go well, we'll get better players. That is the Chapman route to management. And we've given away another corner here. The assistant manager screaming at me to take off Vakalenko because he might get a yellow card. Who cares? Just play him. It's fine. I'm not going to take him off after 55 minutes because he might get a yellow card. If the other guy's good enough to come on now against the second best team in the league, he's good enough to play the entire match and Vakalenko gets suspended. You moron. Is the conversation I've just had with my assistant manager. Didn't go down very well. We're making a triple change. We're just making a change, 3 changes specifically, to try and wrestle back control of the midfield and get a little bit more attacking oomph in. This again might be why we're better going forward than we are at the back, because I will often change the attacking positions if they're clearly not working, whereas defensively, it's just like, look, you 4 are on your own. Learn to defend. Everyone else's responsibility is scoring goals. You lads at the back there, learn to defend. And if you're one of the fullbacks, get forward as well, because otherwise I'll judge you for not getting enough assists at the end of the season. Vakalenko's now tiring, as well as being 1 yellow card away from a suspension. Orlando look like they're dropping points, which is perfect. Orlando are losing 1-0 against Chicago, which takes us down to, or keeps it down as a 4-point gap as both us and them lose. That's crucial for us. Well, I guess in reality, we were never going to get anything out of either of these matches today. We showed in the one in between that you didn't see that we are still good enough to score goals and pick up wins. We now just need to make sure we do that more often than we lose in these final 4 games, get into the top couple of spots of the playoffs, and then tomorrow we win a playoff for the first time. That's all I want now. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.